Bonjour. Could you please explain the importance of homeless entrepreneurs' work?
That's a hard one. There's so many things I could say. I think that first it's a question of awareness, just to make people aware that misery is something we can fight against. The second thing, it's pragmatic solution. To find housing for homeless people, to find job for unemployed people without any kind of subsidies. And at least it's try to find goodwill and generous person and companies ready to help us to fix this really, I would say, transcendental issues, which is the fact that we more and more accept misery around us. We are more and more cold to the pain, to the lifestyle, the lack of lifestyle and quality, of course, of these people living in the street. And for me, the epiphany, I think, started something like 3 years ago when I saw a good friend of mine slowly but surely going to homelessness. And this is where happened my first interaction with homeless entrepreneur, and the solution given to my friend and me was absolutely great. And this is when I started to get involved into it, just to see that it's not blah, blah, blah. It's solution. We help people, we empower people to recover a decent and a comfortable life. And this is what we're working for. I don't think people realize that all of us, we are closer or farther from homelessness. It's a question maybe of 3 months without any salaries in some countries, and then you can't pay your loan, you can't pay your mortgage, you can pay your rent, and you're out. It's the fact that you're far away from home and there is no family solidarity available for you. There is nothing you can do on your own 5,000 kilometers away from your place, even though you were there to go studying or working, and things didn't work the right way. There is so many reasons for people to leave, I should rather say survive in the street. And there is so many things we can do to change these circumstances.
What is your name and where are you from?
My name is Jerome Lafond and I'm from the suburb of Paris.
What did you study and in which university?
I study in Paris 10 Nanterre, which is the University of West Paris. I studied there. I'm a bachelor in fine arts, in law, and I got a master in political sociology. And at the same time, I was studying a business school. I knew that with this study, I couldn't make a living out of it, so I went to a business school, and I mastered in management after 3 years.
And what do you do professionally now? What's your job?
I work on my own since 1999. I started to work on my own with other people, from time to time with employees, with partners, with collaborators. But I turned in what we call today a kind of a business opportunity developer. My job is to find out opportunity in terms of market, product, services, try to pack up something that works, and it's sexy, to get the right people helping you to grow it, and of course to try to get the right money to grow it. And at the end, the idea is just to launch. For me, it's to boost. And then the new idea, the new company, the new service has its own life, and this is what I love about that.
Perfect. And why did you decide to be an advisor for homeless entrepreneur, and what impact would you like to achieve through your support and collaboration?
Well, once again, I think really that the experience my friend had with homeless entrepreneur was like, wow. For me, it was something like, wow, it makes sense, it works. And I mean, to be real, I mean, you save his ass for 1 year. It's like, wow. But I think the reason why I decided out of this experience to really get into it is first the personality and the quality of the people working in the organization, but I would say also the age. I don't know, I read somewhere that you got much more empathy with age. So let's say I'm getting into an empathic moment of my life, and I love action, and I love this new taste or interest or devotion to empathy could turn into action, into facts, into data.
And what was your perception of homelessness before becoming part of Homeless Entrepreneur?
Well, you know, it's when I was a kid, so it was something like 45 years ago. My God, that's a long time. We don't have homelessness. We had clochards, vagrant beggars, you know. Then things have changed. I mean, we all know where homelessness is coming from. It's coming from industrialization in the 19th century. The exodus of people from the countryside. We know all the story, but the fact is that homelessness really started to be like present all around us. I think talking about my original place, Paris, around the years 1980s, yeah. And we don't care where. I don't care where this misery is coming from. The own country, the own system create this misery, or this is an imported misery, or we export misery. The fact is that this misery has turned into something usual, something almost acceptable, close to the urban piece of furniture that costs millions, and with a lot of advertising on them, you got a guy sleeping on the floor. This is where, I mean, I saw that in so many countries, and at the same time, I saw some country in my trip before settling down where I am today. I've seen the way they were dealing with poverty and misery. I've seen it in Turkey, for example, that one month in the year you have to be generous, you have to be open to the people living in the street, you have to help them. I've seen that in Eastern Europe too, where you got still this family solidarity, this neighborhood solidarity that help people to go through, among other things, the terrible winters going on over there. And it's true that in the Western country, I know better, it's always been a question of government and or non-governmental organization. And I always had the feeling that we were not doing the right thing, because at the end of the day, the people living in the street don't interest really anybody. They can be a bother. It's not good to have homeless people in your neighborhood. I mean, the real estate are going down because of that. Most of them don't vote, so they got no electoral value. Obviously, they don't pay taxes, VAT. Begging is getting more and more difficult now if you don't have a mobile application. Cash is disappearing from our Western countries. But we are doing a lot of things. We are apparently spending a lot of public and private money trying to fix the situation, but the situation is getting worse every day. And it's not getting worse because I say it. It's getting worse because every day I go back to my home, walking the same path, and from 1 week to another, to 1 month to another, I can have my personal data about how many people are turning homeless in my neighborhood.
And how has your perception evolved of homelessness since you've started collaborating actively with Homeless Entrepreneur?
Well, I think that people's circumstances can change, and that there is so much will and need for attention from these people. We are talking about young people. We don't care. It doesn't care where they're coming from, but some of them have been to the university. Some of them have a very good education, and they were unlucky circumstances of life. But at the end of the day, you just realize that they are the first one who want to be helped. And they're open to any kind of helps, as far as it's human, as far as each case is a case, okay, and treated personally. And on the other hand, that there is a kind of forecast to the future. It could be courses, it could be a lot of trainings, it could be many things just to empower somebody to be able to create his own business and how to run it off and online. There is so many things we can do because so many of them want to get out of the street.
Exactly. And what kind of advice / support do you provide to the homeless entrepreneur community? How do you help our community grow?
Well, I think my first... what I do first is try to find money and partners. This is for me my useful skill maybe for homeless entrepreneurs, fundraising and networking. On the other hand, I think there is also some great ideas, great solution to end homelessness, getting out of this homeless entrepreneur permanent brainstorming and action. And I think with other, I'm one of those just keeping or selecting some ideas and trying to make them real. It can be an idea dealing with real estate, for example. It can be an idea dealing with getting a special training from this huge corporation that could be interested maybe in pre-hiring some future employee among our homeless entrepreneur talents. This is where I think I could be helpful to homeless entrepreneurs.
And you are extremely helpful, and I'd like to
thank you very much
publicly for that. How important is it to be well advised for our community to reach our desired goals? How important is the advice you're providing to help us reach our goals?
Can you rephrase this?
Sure. Why do you think it's important to provide this support to the community? Why is it important for people to understand how to fundraise better, how to increase its market access? Because I can personally say that you've provided a very key role of helping us not only understand how to improve the discourse, but how does that discourse reach the ears of other institutions and individuals. And so why do you think it's so important to connect with companies and individuals to help them fund what we're doing?
Maybe because homelessness is a universal issue. It's all over the world. It's actually the world. Precarity today, it's frightening. Even in the westernized countries, it's really frightening. So I think there is so many things we could do on a larger scale, on an international scale, if the goodwill and the action people meet together. I'm very much into a short return on investment, a short return on effort, search return of whatever, This is for me the way to be maybe to have a good influence around me, and overall to try to fix things at my small scale. And I think it's just a question of being thousands, hundreds of thousands, a million like this, and we're going to remap all the misery around the world. And I think many people are already involved into that. But I believe in the personal, in the individual commitment with the cause. It's like I have to do it on my own. You know, I have to do something like, suppose for me, effort, work, thinking, whatever. But I have to activate my network. I have to meet this guy for this reason. It has to be real. It has to be short term. Living in the street, it's not a place where normally you get very old.
No.
Okay, so I'm very conscious of this emergency, and that's the reason why I like this very short term return action investment. And I'm very, very happy with Homeless Entrepreneur because I see that there is permanent movement, there is new information, new data, new profiles of homeless entrepreneur. There is more and more volunteers around the place, and wow, I'm just seeing that it works. It works.
Right. And regarding the professional milestone, like what are you the proudest of? What have you done professionally that you're really the proudest of? I'm not proud of anything special. My main pride is to be free. It's to be free. It's to be responsible of myself, which is not easy, and some other people too, if you choose to, and they chose you too, obviously. But I'm not proud of anything special except being able to keep and maintain my lifestyle and my quality of life as long as possible. This is my only pride. It's very tangible, it's very short term, I would say, or long term, it depends on the point of view. Yeah. But it's my main pride is this one, if one day more, 1 week more. That's kind of cool. That's great. And
small victories. There is no big victories for me, there is only small.
Well, it's nice too, and also having the freedom to be able to come and participate in this video as well. Not everyone's
My pleasure.
able to do that, and
My pleasure.
we really
My pleasure.
appreciate that. What's the relevance of social media, like LinkedIn and other social media, of building your professional network and reaching your professional?
That's huge. It's huge. It's huge. I mean, the revolution in human resource is incredible in the last 15 years. Just to talk about one of the consequences, people are turning into products that self-promote themselves. You have to get into a kind of narcissistic and promotional at the same time, profiling and so on and so on. It's very interesting. It's great because in this digital surrounding now, I like to think that from time to time some very high quality people, great people can pop up out of nowhere without any advertising budget or whatever, and just realize that there is some great people around the place, man. And we can meet them, we can chat with them, so that's kind of cool. No, I mean, I'm not a data expert. I think it's turning into also a kind of a dangerous tool. I'm not going to get into the non-human dehumanization and so on. It's obvious to everybody. Just try to call your local cable operator, or just try to call, I mean, any kind of providers. You will figure it out quickly. And it's not going to get any better with the open artificial intelligence. Okay, but the human touch, the physical feeling, somebody inside the room. In my personal understanding of life and work, this is very important. This is very important.
And regarding challenges and benefits of collaborating with homeless entrepreneur, could you name one challenge and one benefit that you have as an important advisor in our community?
Well, one challenge is never lose the focus, never lose the cause. Okay? We're talking about business, we're talking about employment, we're talking about money, we're talking about project, but never forget the reason. Okay? And these are the homeless entrepreneurs. And the good thing about that is that they have to be associated to all the projects we do as soon as possible. They have their opinion, they have things to bring to any kind of meeting, conversation, Zoom or whatever, because this is the way for everybody just to not to forget that these are the people we are here together today and working for. This is the beneficiary, they are the beneficiary of homeless entrepreneur. The benefit, it's a human benefit, obviously, and it's also at some point the joy to realize that there is so many good-hearted people in the world, that there is so many people that are very high or very, who cares? People available on LinkedIn for example, and homeless entrepreneur, can just open the door. I would say open their heart. It's a bit too romantic for me, but it's like okay, they're interested. They know there is something wrong. Maybe they can help. At least they're ready to listen to us, and if we're lucky, they're going to try something with us. And there is so many good-hearted and good-willed people around the place.
Yeah, and I think social media kind of helps make the world a little bit smaller.
But once again, empathy doesn't have to be right now a professional skills, like sustainability now is marketing skills for any product or service you're going to launch. It doesn't have to be like that, you know?
Exactly.
It's useful, but it's not the end of it.
Exactly. And if you had to propose a specific action that could be in international headlines and press related to our work, because you do know we're going to the World Economic Forum.
I know.
For the 5th year.
Yeah.
Very warm weather, 20 below zero. If you had to propose a specific action that could come out in headlines internationally, what would it be? What would the headline be?
Well, you've been freezing your ass all over the world, so
Very true.
it's hard to find. I can figure out a postcard from from Davos. I think what would be great would be for homeless entrepreneur to have this beautiful sculpture in Davos. And I think that this determination, this perseverance of homeless entrepreneur should at some moment get this great achievement in Davos. And over all the political, diplomatical, business involvement of that, which are very easy, just to say, yes, it's a piece of art. At the end of it, just to be there all the time. Just to be in Davos all the time. Just to keep in mind, in Davos, that misery, poverty, it's every day of the year, everywhere. And to have this beautiful sculpture in Davos would be maybe like a friendly or interesting reminder for many people visiting the place and attending the show.
Yeah, maybe something like the World Economic Forum exists and homeless entrepreneur too, right? Just briefly mention something. We're trying to figure out how we can end homelessness for ourselves in Davos, right? So a challenge that we have is, how do we go from the teepee to someone letting us stay in their place, to being able to rent the place, and to eventually becoming a homeowner, right?
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful, very cold process, but we will be doing our best to make headlines.
I'm sure of that.
To help other people as well. And if you had to name like the most impactful interaction that you've had during this relationship with homeless entrepreneurs, is there anything that sticks out specifically, or is it just the general experience of growing with us and knowing that when you help support us when we go to Paris for the EU report, that there is tangible results to that?
Yeah, well, I think that the most tangible result I saw was at the beginning in this small hotel, this hostel, as we call it here, where all these homeless entrepreneurs were together for 1 year. And at the end of the day, the result was kind of cool. I mean, these people, most of them didn't know each other, and you had young people there. And this forced lockdown, you had a very nice group living together, building friendship and project. And for me, this is where I really realized that, wow, I mean, at the first month, 6 months, wow, it works. I mean, some were already following some courses, I mean, online, of course, at this time during COVID. But I could see the goodwill of these people and the way that they can pack up together if they have a common interest, which is to get out of poverty.
Yeah, no, it's important to remember that we focus on people that are motivated with a lack of resources.
Exactly.
And that's really the target. Last two questions. Would you recommend other professionals to be advisors for homeless entrepreneur? If so, please explain why.
In my case, it's a very personal decision. So I don't feel like I have to explain to other people why and how they should do it. It's just a question of if you just think you can be helpful, it's not a full-time job. It's not a. If you just think you can be helpful, or in some conversation, some business meeting, well, you got some ideas. You see an opportunity. If it's to end poverty and homelessness, I mean, we are interested. And on top of that, the organization will always listen to spontaneous followers.
Yeah, we listen to the homeless community through Homeless Voices. And then obviously we have time for a coffee to sit down and speak with everyone that's interested in getting to know us. We always let people know when they make a donation too.
Absolutely.
That as the president, I'm always happy to speak with them if they're interested to know about what we're doing now and what we're doing in the future. And for a specific call to action, if you could ask future or request future advisors to collaborate specifically with your work and what you're doing to help with fundraising and market access, what do you think they could do to help you create more impact in our community?
Well, I mean, we got right now a couple of real estate projects. And any help on this side would be welcome. I think we need some help coming from the urbanism, architecture, decoration, everything, because what we want to do at our scale, which is a very reasonable scale, everything really is very, very tight to the numbers. But this is, I think, a great idea, and the real estate sides need some help. We have to be credible, and we need to have some partners that can make it happen.
Okay, and this is the last thing, which I always find fun. I would like you to direct a message at the camera towards either one French individual or the French community in French, something that you would like them to do to help what we're doing.
J'ai rejoint Homeless Entrepreneur il y a 3 ans. Depuis 3 ans, je travaille régulièrement avec l'organisation. J'ai pu constater durant ces 3 années les résultats tangibles, le retour sur investissement du travail, des efforts, de l'argent collecté, des talents regroupés autour de Homeless Entrepreneur. Et j'invite toute la communauté francophone à s'intéresser et bien entendu à participer, si vous le souhaitez, à Homeless Entrepreneur. Nous avons besoin de beaucoup de compétences, de talents. Tout le monde est bienvenu. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Hey, hug. Always at the end. Thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah.